Caribbean islands. So I don't know what the price of that will be. Okay. Yeah, Paul. So apparently you're back on. You're on YouTube. If you could hear me. Oh,
Yes. Yes, I am.
yeah. I just realized that on my laptop I have to come off and come back on.
So yes, we're streaming on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. See, I spoke all the way, and I told someone to call, and someone did call. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning. You're up early, man. You're up early.
Always early. I want to wish Mr. Joel Martinez, his worship, the mayor, a happy birthday tomorrow. And he should expect a call from me. Have a good day, everybody.
Same to you, buddy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Pinal. Yeah. All right. You should be getting us on YouTube now. So welcome to those on YouTube. Good morning to you. We had a little technical glitch there that Paul rectified. Good morning, Wendy Ann.
It wasn't a technical glitch, and I made a mistake.
What?
I'm not like you.
Wait.
I'm not like you. I wouldn't blame the whole studio and the Abercrombie Street.
25. Hold on, Paul.
I'm not like you, Steve, that would invent stuff to say as you make a mistake.
23. Take the time and date down. Paul said he made a mistake.
You, on the other hand, had to blame the whole studio and the whole building and the whole Abercrombie Street.
Yeah, I never make mistakes, Paul. So, it's other people. I never make a mistake.
We're aware.
Never.
We're quite
always
aware.
The other people.
There's always a drama with you. Virgin Atlantic shares surged more than 40% after the company announced its first commercial space tourism flight is slated for the end of this month.
Mm-hmm.
Would you go if you had a chance?
Are you crazy?
Why?
No.
Why?
Let them iron out the kinks. I don't want to be up there when the kinks happen.
What's the most could happen? If crash and burn and you die, you live already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe you should go up there and
I would definitely go. To get a view of the Earth from space, I would without a doubt I would go. Without batting an eye.
Oops, your eyes just bat there for a second.
Yeah, that was the big deal.
Not me. Let them iron out all the kinks.
I would absolutely go. All now.
Let them iron out the kinks.
I got a big insurance policy.
Oh, yeah.
So if I blow up, my family is well taken care of. A little 20 million US, to be paid by Virgin Atlantic. Kind of thing. Oh, yeah, I would definitely go. I would go without not even think about it.
Where, to Oviedo?
No, Virgin Atlantic is having its first space tourism flight at the end of this month.
They're doing what, sorry?
Having its first space tourism flight.
Oh, sounds interesting.
Sounds
like something.
I wouldn't even think about it. Sorry?
No, I would go.
Yeah, I would go. Take out a 20 million US insurance policy to be paid by Virgin Atlantic, which they could afford in the event of any untoward thing happening, and go and enjoy the flight. You understand?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, you don't really like to fly. You say you like to fly, but you don't really like to fly. Nice flying.
I like to fly. I ain't doing up in that stratosphere for nothing.
Well, you're going up in the stratosphere all the time.
Close to it, I'm like 5 miles up.
You would actually pose a little extra risk because I don't know that they'd have the kind of seatbelts they need for you. But Brendan and I could go.
Nah, I go in.
Once
they would have to modify the cargo bay for you, Steve.
Once I sit in a plane, that seatbelt is always on and quite tight.
Well, tight isn't that tight obvious with you, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Folks, tell me send me a message. What should I tell Paul?
Whatever you
want.
Send
me a message.
So the Prime Minister and the team met with the Chief Justice yesterday to talk about the administration of justice and what can be done to speed it up. I hear the meeting was quite successful. While the Chief Justice was meeting with the Prime Minister, members of the leadership of the Judiciary was meeting with the National Security JSC. They mentioned quite a bit of things about the inadequacies they thought in the TT police service, including the need for more specialized police officers in forensics, psychology, and a lot of other disciplines that they say would help improve the quality of evidence coming before the courts. They also gave a breakdown. I asked a question because there was this debate about the bail bill. Somebody like to call and talk about it right now, whether or not judges were releasing people who applied for bail and whether or not the bail bill taking the discretion out of the hands of judges can be justified with evidence. And they gave the figures for 2021, 2022. And out of 700 matters, only 40 were granted bail for murder for a whole year. So the misnomer, misinformation that judges were releasing people who were charged with murder is misinformation. That was 5.4% according to 5.7% according to my calculation. You understand? So it was quite an interesting interface. They also said they are right now currently in discussions and preparations for having specialized courts for human trafficking and sexual offenses.
Oh, really?
Which is also good news.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite an interesting exchange. But they already spoke about the issues related to police work a lot and how the police service can improve its operation, in particular evidence gathering, to secure a more successful prosecution rate. And it all depends on the kind of evidence that they bring before the courts too, as prosecutors. And it was good for the public to hear the judiciary speak, because very often it's shrouded in mystery, the operations of the judiciary, because they really don't talk. You know?
Right.
You know, they have it. Sometimes people have a misnomer that, separation of powers principles and tenets means that the judiciary can't talk. The judiciary can talk and be very responsible, which they were yesterday, to show how the judiciary works, including the family and children's court, the civil courts, the criminal courts, and the magistracy. So, and how the different elements work with different stakeholders, including the police service, the DPP's office, Forensic Sciences Center, etc. They also said that they have these VACs, VACS, virtual access courts, over 70 of them. So you don't have to go into, for example, with domestic violence cases, where the complainants are asking for certain provisions of the courts to protect themselves. Often they would have to go into the same building in the past with the alleged perpetrator. You can go into any one of these 70 plus VACs at courtrooms and other locations throughout the country and virtually appear before the magistrate to plead your case. And it could be anywhere in the country, going to any court that you need to apply to. You understand? So there are other advances in the judiciary that people just don't know about. Yeah. Which is why the interface was good, because the judiciary, as I said, doesn't necessarily talk. It's just people, this is mysterious thing. I know we have a thing in this country. Run away from court. They talk about court. Court is the worst thing in the world. You understand? But when they know that court is not the worst thing in the world.
Well, I've had so many interactions with the court in the last few years. My goodness.
I know,
I don't need any more.
Love, so special and new. Come aboard. We are waiting
expecting you.
Oh, love.
Love boat. God, America's Got Talent is waiting for me.
They should have called it the wrong boat, not the wrong boat.
You'll hear my voice.
Do you still believe in love, Wendell?
Me, I will always believe in love.
Do you?
I'll always
not agape love. Not agape
I'll always
love.
believe in staying far from love. That's what I'll believe in. So I'll always believe in love.
Not agape love. The other. Where's the love with intimacy?
Intimate love.
No, there's the name.
They have a name for it?
Eros.
More than intimate.
Eros.
Eros?
Yeah. Right? And philia, affectionate love, and eros.
I've had my days of love. I've had good days of love, really good days. So I'm good. I'm good for a lifetime. Trust me. And talking about love, you know, you forced me to look at a video yesterday that I swear I wasn't going to look at. And that video is, of course, one with Philip Alexander. I don't look
talking about Gary Griffith. Let's give them some context.
Yeah, right. So
talking
I don't
about Gary Griffith and Inshon Ishmael.
Right. So Philip Alexander released a video yesterday that spoke to Gary Griffith and Inshon Ishmael, right?
And
whatever they
allegations about
is.
interactions with Inshon Ishmael.
Right. And about how Inshon get land.
Allegedly get land.
Allegedly get land. Well, he didn't alleged nothing.
Yeah, but I'm alleging because I don't know what he says is true.
And he talk about how much police cars used to be fixing there and blah, 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 blah. Right? I don't know that one is allegedly.
Unless I know for myself, I say allegedly. I can't take nobody word for this.
Yes.
I can't go in the courthouse and tell the judge, well, Philip says so on alive, you know.
Because if you had the opportunity to listen to the Inshon back in the day, you would know that he was fixing police cars. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you know, and that's good.
No, he was very
carry on with the story, guys.
Yeah. So I'm saying this Philip Alexander released this video and so on. And of course, talking about the politics and whatnot. And yeah, well, what he's saying is nothing that we haven't said, in that, especially concerning Gary Griffith. These are the bunch of people who said the UNC said the worst things about you, right?
Yeah, but you're not saying what Philip Alexander said, though.
They fired you for standing up against them, okay? They didn't support you as commissioner of police when the same PNM government proposed you, right? They didn't support you. And now you going back with them all because of your
he did raise some valid questions related to that. And what he said, he said in the synopsis was that Gary Griffith was National Security Minister under Mrs. Pasal Bissessar. There were issues related to, I think it may be
Anna Ramlogan.
And Gary, was he fired or did he resign?
They were both fired. Anna Ramlogan and Gary.
Because according to the time, if I remember correctly, they had issues with some, what's the word? Collective responsibility. Let's call it that, right? Right? Would that be correct, Randall?
Yes.
And Gary Griffith took a stand and opted out or was fired, whichever one it was. I can't remember, to be very honest.
They were both fired.
And had issues with the integrity of that cabinet over that case. And now seems to be, I'm not sure because I haven't heard officially, maybe optioning some sort of alliance.
With the UNC.
Yeah.
Yes.
Has that been officially stated?
No, it's not been officially stated.
Right, and that's why I'm careful with saying that what Philip said is true, because I haven't heard Gary Griffith and the NTA say they're going into an accommodation with the UNC. I have not heard that.
No, I haven't heard that.
I heard Gary going into accommodation with another smaller party, but not the UNC, to be fair.
Well, he hinted that he will to ensure that Dr. Keith Rowley comes out of power. That was the hint.
I don't know.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah, listen, if they have a day, Gary, don't send me a message, you know.
Hint is quite nebulous to me.
Well, I could, unless you give me the opportunity to read all his messages.
Right. I get the messages too. I got the response to live, and I got the response to Gary's live. I get them all. You know, I get them as they are released to everybody else. You know, so Philip drew that kind of analogy, and he was right, because if that is the case, I don't know, Gary would have to justify deciding to take his party in an alignment with the UNC, given the issues he's had before, and he himself has raised before with the UNC while he was a part of that cabinet.
Right.
You would really have to justify that. But as I said, I haven't heard Gary said he's doing that. So we will see, because I'm sure within the next 2 weeks, as you say, nomination day is the 26th.
Yes.
Of
10
June,
days from now.
And we will see if if accommodations are to be had, people who are in accommodations with each other will not be fighting the same areas. Would that not be so? They would delineate areas that each would tackle because they don't want to water on the potential for votes.
Right.
So we will know by the 26th who lined down with who.
I have to tell you though, Paul, I have absolutely no confidence that same PEA will not align himself with them. I don't trust none of them, and I said it from day one.
And you know what? I sent a message to all of you yesterday, which I don't know how it jumped in my head. Where's Kirkways and fixing TNT?
Fixing TNT.
And he was so fervent the last election and the local before, and he's here for the long haul, and he's intent on having his political party. And I haven't heard of people from Kirkway during this.
For this entire year, for at least a couple of years.
At least a year. I wouldn't say a couple of years, but at least a year. And his silence and lack of visibility is an interesting development. And I don't know how it jumped in my head yesterday. Okay, where's Kirkway and fixing TNT? But TNT no longer needs fixing.
Well, clearly. And I used to see him often. I don't see him anymore. It's almost like if he is migrated, I'm not sure. I must call his brother Ricky. Well, I would have seen Ricky if we had the cricket at the Oval, but we didn't have the cricket because Ricky plays in our cricket. Ricky plays in our cricket, and Ricky and I are pretty good. So, but another revelation came out yesterday, and we may want to call him or get the clipping from him. Is the first Chief Secretary of Tobago, Ho Choi Charles, made some startling revelations yesterday on another radio show. Yeah. He basically confirmed that that tape is, in fact, Farley Augustine. That's what he said.
But Ho Choi Charles has forensic audio and thing. No, he's a police.
Well, what Ho Choi Charles is also saying is that the tape is more than a year old. It was when they now came into power. That is what he's alleging.
No matter when, right? It don't matter when, you know.
And he doesn't realize that. He just confirmed that the tape is in fact real.
I don't know that Ho Choi Charles could confirm that because Ho Choi Charles don't have the equipment as I know. He's a police.
Paul Richards, I telling you what I heard with my own two ears.
He say he confirm it.
And they replayed the interview, so I heard it more than once. It come on TV6 last night, so I heard it 3 times. Okay? Yesterday, in one day. I heard it live, I heard it when they replayed, and I heard it when the TV6 played last night.
But Steve has Ho Choi's number, so Steve should call Ho Choi this morning.
Maybe we should get him. Because he said Farley is promising to speak, and Farley will in fact confirm it is his voice. That's what he said. But he's saying it happened over a year ago. And he's saying, hear what he's saying? Hear what he's saying? That Farley and them was just continuing something that they met in place.
Don't matter.
You hear the nonsense?
I wouldn't doubt that, but the issue with that is when it is your, good morning, Richard, when it is your voice, purportedly, saying it. We all assume that politicians do that, and all politicians have the A team, which is public, and the B team, which do another kind of propaganda. I have heard about all of that. There are things political parties will not do publicly that they will have B teams doing allegedly. But when it is your voice, purportedly, as the chief secretary, as the leader of the new party, it's something else because it's definitive evidence of some sort of intended malfeasance. That is the difference here.
Exactly. And I don't know if Ho Choi Charles realizes that by saying, confirming it is so, and that is what happened, that it doesn't matter the time, it doesn't matter how long ago.
The time is irrelevant to me, the fact that you're saying it.
Yeah.
And as I said,
I don't think you realize
Ho Choi Charles can confirm it. Ho Choi says, tell me how you confirm it. All that we can say we think is Mr. Augustine's voice. Mr. Augustine could say the AI.
So we could try to get Mr.
I wouldn't doubt. But you know, another thing about it. When you heard the thing, it is a security issue. Well, manipulating a voice to sound like me could be called as a security issue, a cyber security issue. He could say it's a cyber security issue and say they're investigating an AI.
And AI can
manipulation of his voice. That is,
and AI can do that now, huh?
Yeah, and it's so good. It's so good, but we're not that familiar with is Miss Hackett, Zarisha Hackett. We're not as familiar with Zarisha Hackett's voice, so but they do two voices in one like that, boy. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what we're gonna do?
AI is capable
I
of
am going to try over the weekend to do an AI simulation because I have an AI program and use. I'll try. I'm going to succeed. Dr. Rowley and Mrs. Pasabi says in a conversation, and let's see how. Let's see.
I think you should use them too, no?
No, we will put a proviso before and say this is not real.
No, use Richard and me now.
No, it gotta be high level. It can't be audio. It's gotta be for it to have gravitas. It must be.
You want to give people ideas, and you're going to get yourself in trouble.
I am sure it have these things. Say people, the difference it means I will say this is not real. This is not real. But then someone might edit the voice from the "this is not real" part and put it out there and say this is real. But AI, you're right. AI can't do that now. So when Mr. Augustine says, I will speak when it's time and it's a matter of security and about the integrity of the assembly. Maybe he's hinting that there's an investigation into some sort of cyber manipulation going on.
He only come up with that excuse when the police say they have an interest and they're going to Tobago.
It take a while.
That is the only time he said that. When the police indicate they're going to Tobago to investigate.
They indicate they start.
Huh?
They indicate they start.
Yeah.
The dispatch officers and the integrity commission also.
So that's the only time he opened his mouth and say something that he would speak. That
he opened his mouth when the licensing officer swooped down also. So I wouldn't say that's the only time
he had a lot of mouth then. He had a lot of mouth to tell Dr. Rowley too. He do damn fast out of Tobago.
Oh, he was very expeditious in those responses.
He had a lot of mouth then too.
But maybe those issues didn't include security concerns, Wendell.
Oh, you see this politics? And I said yesterday when I listened to Hochoy.
You sent a good question yesterday.
Yeah, I did. What was it? Oh, the smaller parties thing.
Yeah.
For debate. Which is one of the things.
Smaller parties. I think, would you appreciate a debate from all parties or debates from all parties contesting the local government elections? I would limit it to smaller parties. I want to hear from all of them. I want to hear how all of them stand against each other. And I always wondered why, because Dr. Rowley is somebody who can handle himself very well on his legs, right?
Yeah.
That his experience and intellect comes off. So I don't think there's anything you could throw at him that he can handle.
I'm
sure Mrs. Pasabi says that some level can handle herself. You know.
What?
So, but
what did you just say?
We've just never gotten into that culture.
What did you just say?
I said it's 6:46. Who has papers?
Richard.
I have newspapers.
Me and you? You're looking for confusion this morning.
So the news day for this morning, and of course today is Friday, June 16th, 2023. So the weekend has begun, people. So put a smile on your face, even if you are drifting into the beginnings of traffic at this point. So what's the headline on the news day today? U.S. government's 2023 human trafficking report. TNT stays on watch list. So that's the main headline. The main picture is that of a man's best friend, Baldath Mutilal of Pluck Road, Woodland, on Wednesday walks with a caiman that he caught in a villager's yard after heavy flooding earlier.
And they didn't cook it? They didn't curry that?
I don't think you can do that.
You can't?
I don't think it's the period of time in the year that allows.
Or it's a protected species? Well, they didn't go and hunt it.
It may be protected too, huh? It may be protected too, I'm not sure.
If you go out and hunt it, it's something, but if it walk into your pot.
If it's not hunting season, you can't.
But I didn't hunt, walked into the pot.
That's a criminal offense to be in possession of.
Okay, all right. Then it's a possession.
Yeah. You can't have it in your deep freeze.
That's true, as I remember the law.
Yeah.
Man dies in Pittsburgh fire. That's a sub-headline on the front page of the Newsday today. And on the back page, Eve confident overseas players dominate Gold Cup squad. My football style is working. So Angus Eve is very confident about that. Paul takes elite Pan Kieran gold, and we don't mean Paul Richards.
Well, I
So
want to
Paul
know
takes
why the
elite
Nicholas
Pan
Paul, Richard.
Kieran gold.
Please say Nicholas Paul.
Yeah, it's Nicholas Paul. So that's the front and back of the Newsday. I move straight along to the Daily Express for today. Farley under criminal probe is what the Daily Express went with. Senior cop heads team investigating whether THA chief broke any law in leaked audio recording. A PM pledges support for WHO pandemic treaty, and there is a picture of Dr. Rowley shaking the head of the WHO hand. I can't remember his name. What's his name again?
Tedros
Ghebreyesus.
Yeah.
All right, him. And Rowley and CJ hold talks on justice system. On the back page, confidence booster. Powell and Puran and Kala propel West Indies to victory. And La Furia Roja roar into Nations League final. So that's it for the front and back page of the Daily Express. And the final daily newspapers for today, the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, the headline, U.S. State Department 2023 Trafficking in Persons Report, no change. TNT remains at Tier 2 level. Law officials accused of colluding with criminals, taking money and sex.
Money on what?
Oil spill hazard. Sex.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that.
What none of all in this group getting much of. So
I'm glad you know. You're so sure about what you're saying. I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure. Man burnt to death in house fire, 14 homeless. And on the back page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, Paul defends Kieran title. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Nicholas Paul.
That's it for our top. Our
3 dailies.
Our only 3 dailies, not our top. That's it. These are the 3 dailies in Trinidad and Tobago this morning.
We don't have a weekly newspaper again, do we?
Sunshine.
It's still out?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
All right. Why do you guys come up the poll? Let me give the results of our poll from yesterday. Are you satisfied with the initial response from the Tobago House of Assembly Chief Secretary, Farley Augustine, on the controversial audio recording? That was our poll yesterday. Results after this.
Dr. Raj is back on Power 102 Digital.
Sexplosion.
Yes, Sexplosion is back every Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Join Dr. Raj as he explores the issues related to sexual intimacy and sexuality.
Hi, this is Dr. Raj. I am back on Power 102 with Sexplosion.
Join us. Sexplosion with Dr. Raj is back.
4 to 6 every Friday and only on Power 102 Digital.
All right. Good morning to you, Raj. Are you satisfied with the initial response from Tobago House of Assembly Chief Secretary Farley Augustine on the controversial audio recording? The results are in. 76% said no. Said no. All righty. Let's get into this morning's poll. Before I do that, let me acknowledge some of our listeners that sent us messages. Mo Gaines. Good morning to you. Hope all is well. Let me just move around here. Let's see. Edwin Marshall, good morning. Sabita, good morning. Kazim Ahmed. Ray. Brenda Isaac. Mo Gaines. Marcia Rock. Slick Money Grip. Mathura. What is that? I'll just say Mathura. Good morning to you. Carol Guevara, H.S. Wilson, and Guy Small. Good morning to you, as well as Duke Street West and Wendy Ann. All right, let's get into this morning's poll.
All right, and it's for
I see
it's
it
well,
up
it's about
already. The
local.
poll is: would you
It's about
like
the
to
upcoming
see
local.
debates involving all political party leaders in the upcoming local government election?
Am I
Would
coming
you like to
across
see a
debate?
debate? Yes or no?
So you heard our poll, 222 talk, 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. That's absolutely toll free. And of course, people on the web and app, you can send your votes by using the messaging portal on those respective platforms. Our poll this morning: would you like to see debates involving all political party leaders in the upcoming local government election? That's our poll. What do you think?
Richard, are you in a position to write?
All right.
Yes.
Julia, Samantha, good morning. So you heard the poll. Would you like to see a debate involving all political party leaders for the upcoming general local government election? Yes or no? 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. Send me a message like Miss Ingrid and Rena Boodoo Jennings and via our mobile app and website at power102fm.com, as well as YouTube on the comment section. You can send us a message as well. All right. Rena Boodoo Jennings says, oh, yes, most definitely. Most certainly. Miss Ingrid, my answer to the poll, absolutely yes. Thank you, Miss Ingrid. All right. Let's see. Mathura says yes. Carol Guevara says yes to the poll. Junior, good morning, and yes. Thank you, Junior. Josie Richardson, top of the morning, y'all. My answer's a big yes. All right, Josie, hope I said it like you meant it. Ken E out in Harlem. Haven't heard from you in a long time, Kenny. So good morning to you. Hope all is well. Says yes. Marval on the road. Should be fun. Yes, it should be fun. That would be funny. It's amazing how politicians, the maturity of politicians that they do not want to debate. It's amazing. It boggles my mind. Remember, they tried to do it a few times and then this one pull out and I don't know. Wayne out in Simcoe, Ontario, Canada says yes. Lorna, morning, Lorna. Morning, Indy. Special morning to Carly. Yes, for sure. CJ from New York says yes. D says yes, 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 yes. But these weak leaders will never have that. Trini Jam. Yes to the poll. Thank you, Trini Jam. Mo Gaines. Yes to the poll, gentlemen. And a special good morning to Avi. Alrighty, Mo Gaines. She's listening. She heard you. All right. Let's get some calls on this. 222-8255. Toll-free number for our North American listeners. 866-525-1099. Trevor Arima says yes, but it will never happen.
Steve, I saw your neighbor, Miss Patterson, put up the pothole on Facebook this morning. So I screenshot her post on Facebook and I'm sending it off to the authorities once again.
Yeah. No, when they leave the Red House, nobody drives up Abercrombie Street. Nobody does. When you leave the Red House, they don't see that massive trench in the middle of Abercrombie Street right before the office. They don't see that.
Go by Johnny Q and buy the bag of what they say, the pothole fixer, and just throw it in.
And just throw it in.
Yep.
Might as well. As we say that, I passed on 10th Street Barataria yesterday, and 10th Street Barataria has some potholes there. The patch too. I'm just saying. Trini Jam says, wishing you guys a happy Father's Day. Get pampered.
Father's Day cancelled. Who wishing happy Father's Day? They cancelled Father's Day. All you know that?
Don't bring your
You're on your own.
your negative view of Father's Day to everybody across the country.
But clearly they cancel it. You hear anything about Father's Day for the week?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
What you hear?
Lots of things.
What all you hear about Father's Day for the week?
What kind of ads for Father's Day things going
All
on?
kind of things
Give me a
happening.
break. As the only biological father in this chat, I ain't hear nothing.
Well, when your son call you on Sunday, don't answer the phone.
My children don't take me on Father's Day. My children and I just have a Father's Day every year, every day of the year.
All right. Big guy says that would be great. Yes. Thank you, big guy. Morgan says yes to the poll. Thank you so much. We have a minute again to take your votes. 222-8255. Would you like to see a debate involving all political party leaders for the upcoming local government election?
Yep. 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, toll free at 866-525-1099. People on the web and the app.
Yeah.
You know,
moderated by Tony Fraser, the only man I think that's possible in doing that, moderating that. Morning, Tony. Long time, boy. Long time. Ish out in Malik says yes. Good morning, Ish.
Not a sale, not a giveaway, not a coupon.
I don't know where you live in. You need to come out your house a little bit.
Not a dinner thing, not a...
Wendell, in all fairness, there's a lot of stuff going on I cannot see here. For Father's Day. Yes.
I stoops
at you. Need to come out of your house.
I stoops at you. I pooed at you.
All right, let me grab this call here. Good morning.
Good morning, Grandy. Yes, it's very sunny in Grandy.
All right, it's sunny as well. Very good.
That's sunny in Grandy.
All right. Where's Evie? Where is Evie?
Morning, Mr. Richards. Scheduling in the newsroom doesn't permit Ms. Stinthill Bab to be here this morning. Sorry to disappoint.
Mr. McBurney, how are you?
Disappointed in my entire life.
I'm not saying a word. I'm not saying a word. All right, let's get into our 8 o'clock news. The male version of Evie Stinthill Bab is in. He's called Gregory McBurney.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Trinidad and Tobago remains on a Tier 2 watch list on the 2023 Trafficking in Persons report for a third consecutive year. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley meets Chief Justice Ivor Archie to discuss how the justice system could be sped up, and the owners of Nissan Tidas and Toyota Aquas are being urged to invest in security features as the police reveal these two cars continue to be the vehicles most targeted by thieves. Details in a moment. Good morning with your news to 7 a.m. on Power 102 Digital. I am Gregory McBurney. Trinidad and Tobago remains on a Tier 2 watch list for the 2023 Trafficking in Persons report for a third consecutive year. A Tier 2 ranking means the government has not met the minimum standards of the United Nations Trafficking in Persons Protocol and the United States Trafficking Victims Protection Act, but is making significant efforts to do so. The United States Department of State report noted that several police and government officials are under investigation for trafficking offenses. It did not name the officials. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said the report objectively assesses 188 countries and territories to showcase the successful efforts to prevent human trafficking, identify shortfalls, and ultimately eliminate trafficking. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and several members of cabinet yesterday met with Chief Justice Ivor Archie. The group met to discuss matters pertaining to the administration of justice and how administrative and logistical strategies could be aligned so that justice delivery could be sped up. Several immediate interventions are said to have been identified and agreed upon at the high-level meeting. The meeting is also said to have ended with a commitment to meet periodically to ensure that progress remains on course. Meanwhile, the judiciary is considering setting up specialized criminal courts, and a committee has been formed to treat with this issue. This was revealed by Court Executive Administrator of the Judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago, Master Christiane Morris Allen, yesterday. She made the revelation while speaking before Parliament's Joint Select Committee meeting on national security. She noted that figures before the court in the areas of sexual offences and human trafficking are high, and added that this is one of the areas the judiciary wants to make headway in addressing.
We're in the process of setting up sexual offences and human trafficking court, a special criminal court for that purpose. We've noted that those figures are extremely high. The time to disposition is far too long. It means, of course, what it means for the victim. We haven't lost sight at all of what it means for the victim. And there are several things that are taking place in that arena. There's actually a committee that is working assiduously on it, co-headed by Justice Waterman Latrue and myself. So we're well on our way in that particular scope.
Deputy Court Executive Administrator Wendy Lewis Callender meanwhile revealed that an already specialized court, the Children's Court, has overseen more than 4,000 matters since it was set up in February of 2018. At the end of April, cases brought before the court stood at over 4,500 cases. The matters range in various categories, including inducted matters, children in need of supervision, and children authority matters.
We really want to find out why this child is before the court. What has caused this child to be before the court? That child does not get there on their own. So what are the issues in their home, their environment, what's happening at school, etc., that would cause that child to be before the court? And that information is provided to the judge or the judicial officer so that the judge or judicial officer could really determine what are the targeted interventions we could make into this child's life, apart from dealing with the offense itself.
Moving to crime news, the owners of Nissan Tidas and Toyota Aquas are being urged to invest in security features as these two cars continue to be the cars most targeted by thieves. This, as the police yesterday noted that challenges in shipping during the COVID pandemic may be one of the contributing factors to the growth of the stolen vehicle and car parts trade. During a news briefing at the Police Administration Building in Port of Spain, police officials revealed that there have been nearly 700 vehicles stolen in the country from January 1st to June 1st of this year. Nissan 80 wagons, Nissan Wing Roads, and Toyota Fielders round out the list of top 5 vehicles commonly targeted by bandits. In international news, drones and missiles have been launched against Kiev just as African leaders arrive in Ukraine on a peace mission. Ukraine's foreign minister says the missiles are, quote, message to Africa, showing that Putin wants more war. The 7 African leaders from countries including South Africa and Egypt will meet President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kiev before heading to Russia tomorrow. The group has agreed to engage with both Zelensky and Putin on a ceasefire and lasting peace. But the initiative comes just as Kiev faces or launches its counteroffensive against the Russian invasion and fighting intensifies. And now for a look at the weather forecast. For the period today until midnight, Trinidad and Tobago can expect generally fair, hazy, and windy conditions despite partly cloudy patches producing a few light to moderate showers. There is the low to medium chance for an isolated heavy shower or thunderstorm to develop during the late morning to afternoon, favoring southern Trinidad. The public is reminded that an orange level high winds alert is in effect. Gusts in excess of 60 kilometers per hour have been observed, especially in the vicinity of showers. In the event of heavy downpours and thunderstorms, downdrafts may exceed 75 kilometers per hour. These strong winds may be brief but are capable of displacing unsecured roofs, loose outdoor objects, toppling trees, and weak structures. Marine craft can be adversely impacted by these strong winds, and visibility may be extremely low during dusk and dawn. Wind waves occasionally near 2.5 meters are also expected with agitated seas. Persons are advised to secure loose outdoor objects and livestock, avoid unnecessary outdoor activity where possible, and marine interests should also exercise extreme caution during this period. Persons are urged to monitor sea conditions and follow the instructions of lifeguards while monitoring official news sources and weather updates from metoffice.gov.tt. And now to recap the headlines. Trinidad and Tobago remains on a Tier 2 watch list on the 2023 Trafficking in Persons report for a third consecutive year. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and Chief Justice Ivor Archie have met to discuss how the justice system could be sped up. And the owners of Nissan Tidas and Toyota Aquas are being urged to invest in security features as these two vehicles continue to be the ones most targeted by thieves. Well, that's what's making your news to this hour. I am Gregory McBurney. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right, thank you, Gregory McBurney, for our major news. Of course, you can join him or maybe Avi, I don't know which one, at 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right. As Gregory said, it's a warm one. It's 29 degrees in our Twin Island Republic already. 29. Yikes. It's warm. It's going to be a scorcher today for sure. All right. Let's take a look at traffic and see what's happening on the highways and the byways. San Fernando, you're lighter than usual. Yeah, you're very light. Rivulet Road, heading to Point Lisa's sticky. Chaguanas Main Road, you've got some traffic. Also got some volume heading towards Ibis Gardens. And yeah, after Chinchin Road, you're going to get some traffic. Traffic again from Charlieville. Yeah. After Monroe Road, you're going to pick up some traffic heading towards Interchange. Piarco towards UE. And Valsain towards Port of Spain. Eastern Main Road is not bad at this time. A little volume after Mount Hope heading towards San Juan. But that's it. Maraval. Yeah, you're going to get some traffic. That's not going to change. All right. Out of Mocha, heading down. And Diego Martin, heading to Crystal Stream. We've got some traffic there as well. All right. Let's get back into the program. I got one more vote for you. Sexy San Fernando says yes to the poll, but they are not politically mature enough to agree. Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one there. Sexy San Fernando. Totally agree with you there. Yeah. Why is traffic so light today? Find that odd. The traffic is so light. Not too sure. All right. So, Rich, you got that one vote? Yes, from Sexy San Fernando.
All right.
And,
So, good morning.
I got Ingrid Adams. Oh, she's just saying good morning. Leonard Naipaul also says yes.
So our poll this morning, would you like to see debates involving all the political party leaders in the upcoming local government elections? We had 19 people voting in the allotted time, and of the 19 people, all said yes. They would like to see debates involving all of the political party leaders. So it was a resounding 100% in favor of it. Will it happen? I'm not hopeful.
I'm not hopeful either.
There's too much ego in this little small island.
Yeah, boy, no kidding, eh?
Too much.
No
Well, actually, the challenge of that debate came directly from Philip Alexander to Gary Griffith. Eh? He said, if you want a debate, let's have a debate. You understand?
Yeah, no, but it should be all.
I'm telling you, the challenge came from out of that video that Philip Alexander made concerning the situation with Gary Griffith, which is how we developed the question. Now, we said all, at least Paul said all. My question, my suggestion last night was the smaller parties, which is what Philip Alexander is suggesting. He didn't ask for a debate with the UNC and the PNM. He asked for a debate specifically with Gary Griffith. You understand?
I was looking at it from the general context, so the overview that we have never had debates even for general elections.
No, we've never.
And there has been a debate commission that has been set up by, I think, the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce that has had several times trying to get the main political leaders to have a debate, and they have always had some stupid excuse as to why it could not happen. And hence, I say, too much ego in this small little space.
Yeah. Did we try to get Ho-Choi Charles at all?
No, well, we'll try for next week.
Next week? By next week, the story does make no sense.
Oh, that story gonna live on and on and on and on.
I don't think so. Because by then,
It's been living for 3 weeks. So
no, but Ho-Choi Charles bought something else in the mix yesterday. He confirmed it was in fact Farley. We haven't had confirmation from anybody thus far that it's Farley. He said Farley will come and say it's him. And he said that that it was the tape is more than a year old. We haven't heard that from anybody yet. So it was important to speak to Ho-Choi Charles now.
You mean before he makes his media rounds?
Yeah. And before Farley comes and says something else. Because if you know what I mean, unless Farley is coming to say the same thing, you know, what does Ho-Choi Charles have to gain from saying what he said yesterday? He said yes, it's him. And he said it happened when they had just come into power. That's what he said.
Yeah.
You understand?
I don't know what Farley's going to come and say at this point, no?
Yeah. So it would have been interesting to hear from him today. Because he only did that interview yesterday. Eh? He didn't give any interview prior to yesterday. And it was on another radio, and it was on TV6 News last night.
I saw a glimpse of it on TV6. I did see a glimpse of it on TV6 last night. I did.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we could just go along with the regular programming. We could open up the line. We could take Father's Day greetings, people. Monday is also a public holiday. Thank God I get a long weekend. So once it's holidays on a Monday, I get an extra day off. When it's a Tuesday or Thursday, Richard gets a day off. But you get a day off on a Monday too. But Monday is Labor Day in Trinidad and Tobago. It's also Juneteenth in the United States, and
yes, it is.
Yeah. Some states in the United States, that is, including New York. So New York is having a holiday on Monday. Also, directed to your AI conversation earlier on, I got a message from someone who said AI can't do dialect.
What?
It can't do dialect.
They need to read it some more.
I think AI can do whatever they do. I think AI can do whatever you want at this point, when it's real deep fake.
Your camera is off, Rich.
He's eating, you can't tell? Yeah. So if this tape, according to Ho-Choi Charles, is when they now came into power, that places Watson Duke squarely in the mix there, you know. If Ho-Choi Charles is a legend, that this tape came about when they just came into power, that places Watson Duke in the mix, not so?
Well, we don't know who was present.
But it places him in the THA, ensconced in the THA as Deputy Chief Sec at the time.
Yeah, he would have been Deputy Chief at the time. But we don't know when that conversation would have taken place.
Have we tried to speak to Watson Duke since?
Yep.
Yes.
He hasn't spoken to us, has he?
He hasn't spoken to anybody.
Okay.
The last time we spoke to Watson was briefly in passing, just before this little piggy started.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's the last time we spoke to him, because he was actually in studio. So we can take some of your calls on this. Of course, the other trending story is the U.S. State Department 2023 Trafficking in Persons report. And they're saying that there's no change. TNT remains at tier 2 level. And law officials accused of colluding with criminals and taking money and sex. Can you believe that that is happening in Trinidad, Tobago, Wendell?
What is that?
Law officials will be corrupt enough to be colluding with criminals and taking money and sex?
Where they getting the sex from?
The human
I can understand the money.
The human trafficked persons, that's where they're getting the sex from?
Oh, that type of criminals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's human trafficking?
All right. No, I didn't hear the part about the human trafficking part of the
Well, it's a trafficking in persons report.
All right.
Yeah, so the human trafficking, obviously, remember when people are being human trafficked, they are vulnerable one and they're being taken advantage of.
But we just came out of a story that has not been verified as yet, where a young girl said some Coast Guard officers held her down and raped her, and she showed a set of bruises all over her. Not so?
Yeah, and there's so much confusion in that the court has asked the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago to intervene, because the Ministry of National Security is now she's under the control of the Ministry of National Security by all intents and purposes, because she was part of the
detention center.
Right. She's in detention in the heliport, whatever, where the issue happened. I don't know where she is now. She's filed this, she's taken this matter to court. And the Ministry of National Security is now saying she's withdrawn the matter. She don't want to carry it any further. And the court says, what? You know? And to the Law Association say you all need to get involved in some kind of capacity, because and clarify with the young lady whether that is so. Because you can't have the victim saying, look, these people abused me, who are members of the national security apparatus, and then have the same apparatus come and say, well, she says she withdrawing it.
Well, if what we saw, the pictures of the young girl,
you need some sort of independent verification.
Yeah.
Obviously.
The young girl's bruises ain't fake.
Exactly.
You understand? The bruises we saw in those pictures ain't fake.
And you know what, and what gets me with all of this, I mean, of course, we have to get to the truth of it. And this is so serious. And I know it's not a front page story. At least I haven't seen it being a front page story. Maybe it was, and I missed it. But it's something that as a news item seems to be bubbling just below the surface. We know it's going on, but it's just below the surface. But it's such a serious allegation, because these are people who are in the custody of national security officials in a government-sanctioned detention center, who is claiming that center is not safe. And if she was beaten and raped, as she alleges, now it's all allegations at this point, what kind of abuse would have taken before that's unreported would be my question. Yeah. And what kind of investigation and monitoring is taking place? Because there's something about power with human beings, Wendell. When human beings have power over people who are vulnerable, they can get abused depending on their personality. They almost don't see them as equivalent as human beings in their sight. They see them as less than.
Yes, Richard. I know only too well.
Yes.
I know only too well that when certain people get power, especially people in the police and military service, they get abusive. They get to feel they could do people and tell people what they want. That is a fact. That is a fact. And you see it every day. You saw it in evidence in that video the other day where there was a protest over bad roads, I think, in Penal Debe, or some part of the country, right? Rodney Charles's area. You saw it where this elderly lady was also at the sideline protesting, and this young police officer, young girl, walked up to her and tell her she talking too loud, and then proceeded to hold on to her and arrest her and say she was resisting arrest, Richard. And this is not even a police officer who have years of service and who come up through the ranks and who have some kind of rank. This is a little girl as a police officer. That video played out publicly the other day on television. And I am saying, what level of madness is this? I've seen too much police abuse, experience it to have no confidence in police. Sorry. None. And sorry for sounding so bitter this morning again, but I've seen it, I've experienced it all. I don't want to hear about police. If there's something in the area, well, you had to call them. As long as they don't come here. Right, I come off my soapbox.
So we have to see how it all plays out, because I'm not so sure how the Law Association is going to respond to it. But I did hear that as a news item, that the Law Association was asked by the court to intervene, and you would also need an interpreter and stuff like that. Because it becomes so particular, because sometimes, let's say the Ministry of National Security says, well, we have an interpreter, and that interpreter, you could use that interpreter. No, you can't, Ministry of National Security. Not from a legal perspective. Especially if you are not Spanish speaking, you would want your own independent interpreter to interpret what she's saying. You understand? That's how the legal system works. You want it to be as independent and impartial as possible in terms of receiving the information from the person. And when it comes to interpretation, you don't know what that interpreter is going to be saying, and you don't know how accurate it is to what the girl is saying if you don't know Spanish or you don't know the language generally that somebody is speaking. So even the issue of the independence of an interpreter or an interpreter hired by the defense is important, and all becomes part of the construct of that kind of case. So we'll see how that case plays out. But the Ministry of National Security is saying that she wants to withdraw the matter, something along that line.
Yeah. Where's Yesenia Gonzalez? Is she still a representative of the migrants?
Yeah, she is. We speak to her from time to time. But all of this is connected in a sense, because those kind of reports and allegations feed into how the world views us in terms of handling migrants. Because that's an international issue. Don't think that story just remains here. It does not. And it also feeds into reports like this, the U.S. State Department 2023 Trafficking in Persons report. So it's not something that you could just ignore and figure there is no affecting brand Trinidad and Tobago. It does.
Yeah.
But if I may read a little bit about the trafficking report and what it says, I'll just read a little bit briefly on some of the main points of that report. And it says that, noting that several police and government officials are under investigation for trafficking offenses, the United States Department of State has maintained TNT's Tier 2 status in its 2023 Trafficking in Persons report for the third consecutive year. In launching the report at the Dean Acheson Auditorium in Washington, D.C. yesterday, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said the report objectively assesses 188 countries and territories to showcase the successful efforts to prevent human trafficking, identity shortfalls, and ultimately eliminate trafficking. Blinken said the United States is committed to combating human trafficking because it represents an attack on human rights and freedoms. According to the report, since establishing anti-trafficking legislation in 2011, TNT has never convicted a trafficker. Courts have never convicted a trafficker under the 2011 anti-trafficking law. Corruption and official complicity in trafficking crimes, including at senior levels, remained significant concerns, inhibiting law enforcement action. Victim identification, referral, and services remained weak and inconsistent, and interagency coordination was poor, the report stated. Tier 2 status means that the TNT government does not fully meet the minimum standards for eliminating trafficking, but is making significant efforts to do so. The report listed measures such as implementing new standard operating procedures for victim referral and care, opening a government-funded and operated shelter for female child trafficking victims, providing the first government shelters for adult trafficking victims, and increasing the size of the counter-trafficking unit. I know the counter-trafficking unit does a lot of work in trying to, sensitize people about the issue. It also stated that government took steps to prevent trafficking among vulnerable populations, including migrant workers, Cuban medical workers, and Venezuelan refugees and migrants, and initiated a new program to assist victim witnesses by allowing remote testimony in trafficking cases. However, it said authorities still did not demonstrate overall increasing efforts compared with the 2022 reporting period. So that's just some of it. The report found that corruption and official collusion in trafficking crimes remain significant concerns and impede law enforcement. It noted, for example, that 2 new investigations involved police officers who remained on the job without administrative penalties. It also pointed out that Commissioner of Police Erla Harewood Christopher had ordered an investigation into senior government officials alleged in 2020 to be involved in trafficking. Police opened another investigation into other allegations made this year against senior government officials after former UNC government officials accused the party of covering up human trafficking by a member of the party hierarchy. And while police probed these offenses, the report noted that authorities continued inquiries into 24 police officers allegedly involved in trafficking begun in the previous reporting period, of which none moved to prosecution. So there's more excerpts of the report. That just gives you a sense of it, a quick sense of it.
All right. Well, let's grab some calls, gentlemen. Do have some calls coming through, so let's grab them. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Minister Fitzgerald is not one of my favorite persons, but they wanted to kill him the other day when he said the criminals have friends in all the different factors, and day by day he is being proven right to what he said. But Wendell, I want to caution you, Wendell. You see your opinion that you have, that you're free about the police. You are soon to be labeled either an accomplice to the enemy, and you're aligning with the criminal elements.
You're joking, right?
I am dead serious. I have been
for people, you've been labeled that way.
Element. Yeah. I do that, and you hate police, and police do you something, and some policeman take your woman, and trust me, you're going to get all them allegations when you're
Well, guess what? Guess what, Lincoln? Guess what, Lincoln? I don't care.
But I don't care either. Me don't really care. I was laughing about policeman take my woman and all them kind of jackass thing. Sorry about that. Anyway, I went to the sea. Anyway, you have to be. I personally, I'm dealing with a situation right now where some police arrested a young fella. It is factual. It is proven the young fella was just an innocent bystander. It has to do with money laundering. Somebody else used his account and passed the money through it. He don't know nothing about it. Everybody say he don't know nothing about it. The people involved who know about who is being charged admit he didn't know nothing about it. Right? He was an innocent party. He don't know nothing about it. You know they're still charging him, man? Young man. Yes.
Lincoln, let me tell you something. I have plenty friends and family who are police officers, right? I have plenty friends who are really good police officers, right? Honest, hardworking police officers. But you see the majority of them, even the good ones, they turn a blind eye to the bad ones. And that is what worries me about police officers.
That's very problem.
That's what worries me about police officers the most. Not the bad ones, but the good ones who
only when
turn a blind eye to the bad ones.
Only when it is glaring and they cannot sweep it on the carpet. You imagine they find an assortment of weapons in a whole police station up in the ceiling. And no way for it to be get up in the ceiling. And nobody gets suspended. All they do is transfer these rogue elements to different stations. It happened once, it happened twice, it happened 3 times.
You don't ever hear a police officer being dismissed.
Look at that example.
Right. Thanks, Lincoln. A lot of calls coming through.
Okay then.
All right,
look
buddy.
at that example with Curry Marcel and his brothers, right? It was a raid, right? But guess what? The good ones decide, you take that rapiers, and as one man alone went to court, on that matter,
Yeah.
One man, because
Good morning.
the others decide they ain't going to say it was wrong, but they ain't saying he was right. Morning.
Good morning.
Yes, morning.
Yes, I'm listening to the program this morning, and I'm a bit curious because I'm hearing about human trafficking, and Trinidad was placed on some second tier by the U.S. government. Am I hearing correctly?
Richard would have read the story, but he is offline at the moment.
Okay. I'm just curious as to what tier is the United States of America on? Because the impression I'm getting like human trafficking is German to Trinidad and Tobago.
No, I think all right, I hear you. When Richard comes back on, I'll ask him to respond.
There's over 15 to 17,000 reported cases of human trafficking in the United States of America. We mustn't we're trying to paint Trinidad and Tobago as this worst place. I can't accept that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Richard, as I say, was reading from a report. If you could counter the report, you could give your opinion, that's not a problem.
Good morning to GNC Auto Security. Good morning, Jennifer. Calvin, good morning to you. Wonder what policeman do you, boy?
It's not what no police do me, It's what I have seen police officers do over the years, several years. And up to the other day, I gave an example of what that young policewoman did with that elderly lady. I gave an example of what the police officers did with Curry Marcel and his brothers. There are several examples to give, and it has nothing to do with me personally. I could talk, if I talk my personal matters, all you're running. This radio station shut down, As a matter of fact, this radio station will have about 1 million viewers in one day if I start to give my stories. All you don't want me to give my stories. I know, Deborah, I don't want no coach.
All right, well, let's take some calls. 222-8255. North Americans, call in 866-525-1099. It's our numbers directly into our studio.
Yeah, we can take your calls. Richard will rejoin us in a bit. He just ran off.
Beauty Culture, good morning to you. Yeah. I have some good police partners.
I have plenty good police friends. Myself and Superintendent Charles, who's in charge of the municipal police in St. James. Trust me, he could call on me anytime. I could call on him anytime. He is a good police officer. You understand? And I know several others like that. Right? I know officers of the Professional Standard Bureau, the Fraud Squad, the Counter Trafficking Unit, you name it. I know officers all over this place. We had several good officers in West at a time, but several bad ones. Oh, Lord, we had a bad bunch in St. James at a time. Lord. Bad. Setting up them young fellas in the area, doing them all kind of wickedness, raiding them for all kind of stupidness. I've seen it all, you know. I've seen it all. But at the end of the day, after God, they say it's police, and because that's who you are to call at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Anytime you're in trouble.
True. First thing you're doing, they had that shooting in Piarco, and they called the police and they intercepted the vehicle on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Arrested 3 individuals, 3 youths, 3 plebs, 3 monsters. Found guns and ammunition in the vehicle. Well done, TTPS.
The day I shut down on the PBR, is a police jeep pull over and help me. And the fella went for his jumper cables, come back with it. A policeman in a police jeep in uniform, Constable Bim from Maloney Police Station. He always see me all the time and hail me out.
All right.
You understand? He was most helpful.
Good morning, caller.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Steve, nothing yet, eh?
Right, good. Stay on the line for me. Don't hang up. They called me yesterday.
Right.
So I'm taking the number down. It's LP. What number again?
Like 450, 2nd Street, Angeline.
Right. It's lamppost 50. Because they said it went up and they couldn't find that lamppost.
Yeah, it was a grass and thing on it. The first lamppost on the street, too.
Okay. LP 50. And I have your telephone number here. You want to give me your first name just in case?
Kenwin.
All right, Kenwin. Thanks, pal. I'm going to send it out now.
Wendell.
Sir?
I'm glad you're on today. Tell me something. Where's the retirement age for mayor?
There's no retirement age. There's no retirement age for anybody in politics.
So once you're voted back into office, you could go until however long.
Yeah, a mayor is, the way our system works, you don't vote for a mayor in the true sense of the word. The council will come. The council, a mayor is, in most times, a mayor or chairman, in most times, is selected by the party.
Okay.
There's a voting process, but the voting process is basically telling you who you'll vote for as mayor.
Because I'm watching the 2 places that I want to put as boroughs. So Paria and Diego Martin. That seems like a retirement plan for these 2 political leaders.
Well, I would be aghast if Kamala Prasad Bisesa and Dr. Keith Rowley settle for being a mayor of the boroughs. I would be, because their pension is going to take care of them for life, you know, Kola. They don't need a job as a mayor.
Yeah, but don't underestimate human greed. Anyway,
okay, I hear you.
Enjoy the day, gentlemen.
All right, you too. Take care. Thanks so much. Let me know. I sent it already. All right, 222-8255, toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099 is 42 and a half minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. And just a reminder of our morning poll, we'd like to see debate involving all political party leaders in the upcoming local government election. All right, that's all. We'll vote on it. It's going to stay up for the entire weekend and give results on Tuesday morning. Yeah. That's when we'll be back in.
There's no retirement age in politics anywhere in the world, as far as I'm aware. We have leaders. We had people who become prime minister at age 80. We have leaders who stayed there for years and years and years and years and years. You understand? There's no retirement age in politics. None.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Once
So
you're an
let's have
adult.
some of those calls. Good morning. Hola.
Morning, how are you all?
Good man.
The day before, this has to do with Scotiabank ATMs in Maribor. The day before Corpus Christi, I went in to the ATM, one ATM was it. Right? There's a line of people going in there. 40 minutes deposit a check. The day after Corpus Christi, I went back again and did the same thing. One machine took another 40 minutes deposit a check. Nobody doing anything. So I went inside the bank and asked to speak to the manager. We did the next half an hour, nothing. Went back again, and I started to blow some cuss in the deal. You wouldn't believe 5 minutes after everything was working.
I do not know what is the problem with having ATMs in this country. Now, if you're not on Eastern Main Road in Barataria, there's only one ATM, and that's in Maritime, and that is hardly have any cash in it.
So I wonder what's going to happen for this long weekend.
Oh no, money will run out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because today's a fortnight pay also, eh?
Yeah, money will run out. All right, pal. Thank you. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning to all in the studio. And
It's only me in the studio.
Only happy Father's Day to all the men at Power 102. Happy Father's Day, and to all the male listeners. First, I want to say, I want to respond to Lincoln yesterday when he said, if I got results when I went with my placard and that. I want to let him know. You're familiar with the name Glenda Jennings? Glenda Jennings. Yeah, she was in charge of the Western Division. And when that lady came, let me say it like the Jamaican, she turned around, they go. She had the drivers hot. Let me tell you, that lady used to come out like anytime during the week, and she pulling off all the drivers who breaking the law, who with the tint, who with the hard pound. So Lincoln, when Glenda Jennings was there, I got results from my protests. And after she left, I don't know why they didn't make her commissioner of police. She was so effective. But I don't know how she was, if she was ready to retire, what.
No, you forget Glenda Jennings. Glenda Jennings Smith took early retirement and went to be the member of parliament for Sangre Grande.
Oh gosh, so sad. That was the
she took early retirement and went into politics.
Oh, thanks, Wendell.
Yeah.
Well, that was the TTPS loss because that lady, as they say, woman is boss. She was very effective. So, Lincoln, I hope that answers your question. And I want to say something. When Zina made her statement about the flooding and who getting fridge and stove, oh God, she get licked, she get a battering. But I heard Lincoln call, and Lincoln said actually the same thing. He just didn't itemize. But he said, and then they go into all the agencies to get the thing. So, as Mighty Duke said in his Calypso, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Because I remember Ian Allen put on a sting operation to tell you how people, now I'm not saying these residents doing that or did that, but you see this thing where you could go and get things because of flooding. Ian Allen put on a sting operation on the promenade when his Greenville got flooded. And the two guys from the social welfare division went and was going around to all the residents. Imagine you going on the second floor, third floor to make people fill out form. And the lady said, but I'm on the second floor. Never mind, fill it out. She did. And she called she was a very brave woman. She called Ian Allen and tell him what happened. And he said, go ahead with it. And they went and they put on the sting operation and they arrested the two people. So these things, it goes hand in hand. The people in the office doing it again. Donna Cox right under with trying to find these people who taking the grants and they ain't qualified. The mother, father dead, and they're still collecting their pension. So these things happen, and it only can happen when they have inside help. Inside help is what does it. So this thing, and I work where I saw flood come in, and you know what? I is vexed with my government because for years farmers come in to collect compensation, and all you going and build in the riverbed. Only remember Bangladesh and St. Joseph, the HDC build houses in Bangladesh now for the squatters. They used to be right on the riverbed. So that's why I say to Orville London, I give you praise. Naku Pasifa. Orville London, you take a bow because you did it in Tobago and you got results. And I don't know what the hell they're doing in Trinidad, where they should close down all them agencies, EMA, Town Country Planning, you name it, tooth bagay, because they ain't doing nothing and they're letting a village come. And when a village come, they're looking to move it. Wendell, I hope the police listen to what you said yesterday about, yesterday or the day before, about about your car, your stolen car. The police need to not only go in the bush, what they should do based on what, but you see, I mean, Linganesa was, when the police do good, I give them praise. And when they do nonsense, I bash them. They should be checking. You know what I have to do now based on what you said? You're looking for a car that gets stolen and they go. You check the school's compound. You go, they go sec, the junior sec. And so, because if they could have carried your car in a school car park and then move it the next day, well, the bandits, they're way ahead of the police, you know. They're using tech. And I will praise them for that robbery that went down in Valsin there in Real Spring. Well done, officers. Y'all take a bow this morning. Fellas, y'all have a blessed weekend. Bye.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Hello.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning. Morning, Brooklyn.
Just two simple matters calling from New York. You know, I listened to Rodney Child some time ago. Was it last month or last year? He was sort of asking questions about the lifeguards and the shortage of lifeguards in Trinidad. Now that the kids are about to go to school, I expect the situation still remains the same. But here in New York City, you need 1,400 lifeguards for this season, and they can only get 400. So, I mean, if you guys know of anybody who is certified living in this country, they should apply. And I think they're even raising their pay to attract them into these positions. Now, there's something happened this week about Zina. I mean, we may not like her comment. I support what she says, and which is a statement of fact. This is the reason why every time we have those situations, the minister has to go in the parliament. When she asks questions, she has to say, well, we have to, the reason why this cannot be done is because we have to fact check, and some people are doing forging or false, whatever it is. So I support everything that's said. But I don't think as radio host, if somebody calls you and make a comment, it was such importance to be buffing the lady like this. I listen to these radio stations. I mean, I love listening to your programs, very educational, informative, but the way we treat our callers, I don't think, especially Senator Paul. I mean, he's always an extraordinary guy. You know, the way he gets on with people on this radio station. I mean, have a great day, and I'm listening. God bless.
All right.
All right.
I wasn't on air the day with Zina, but I suspect it's not what might have been how and when she said it, not what she said, because I wasn't on air that day, so I can't comment on it,
right.
And she hasn't reached out to me on it.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey.
I thank Mr. Martin and I thank the last gentleman.
Mr. New York.
Thank you, Mr. New York. You know why I had to thank them? Because I've been a caller on this radio station from its inception. I decide that I was going to take a rest from you all because I couldn't believe Steve and well, I didn't think I hear Richard make any real comment, but Paul. And after they talk and they only talk, whoever, all morning, when they take calls, sometimes we call in, Richard, you there, Paul, they're saying nothing, doing what they have to do. And as I made that comment, and I know I ain't lie because I work in the ministries and I know what takes place, especially in that social services ministry. And I said what I said. I didn't expect that Paul and Stephen, they would get one like that. And I call it encouraging people to call in because like Lincoln, and not even Lincoln so much, the one from Big Boy and all of them, they came in with a bag and that woman, and she had something wrong with she head.
So Zena,
lying on another blanket too long.
so your comment,
Steve,
Steve,
let her finish her comment, please.
Yes, and Paul and they really got on bad with me. And I didn't think that was necessary. You don't agree with me, just say you don't agree with that. But to get on with my what's happening to me and how I get on, it was very hurtful. And you know why it hurt that much? Because even the day before, 2 days before, when I asked the question about these people who came with the $1 phone and the computer, and I said certain things. I asked, these people really have permission to do that? You walk in a country and Paul say, Zena, they didn't have to, they couldn't come. And so I said, I am asking a question that he compare me to Mr. Pinal. My head getting like Mr. Pinal now, and the kind of question I asked him. You know, the very night on news I saw a TSTT take a turn in the Telecommunications Authority and big bassa going on, where what you're hearing about the dollar phone and them. So sometimes I wonder, like his own, the people from abroad, once he could call and maybe talk and make sense. So maybe my brain getting old and I will lie down under my PNM blanket until God ready for me. Thank you. And I'll have a nice day.
Wait, I don't want you to go without me saying to come back and say something.
Well, you can say it off, yeah?
No, she said her piece.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say your comment. This is what you said, Zena. Is that these people not preparing themselves for when flood come, and all they want to get is a check from the treasury.
No, I didn't even say check. I said,
Well, you want to get money from the treasury. It's a check they'll give you.
No, I never said that. Lincoln talk about.
No, that is what you said.
You know, this conversation not going to make sense if you are going to argue.
I talk about fridge and stove. That's what I talk. I said like some of them just wait. And I ain't say all, you know, but it happens. And let me tell you what happens. Some of them, they live in the extended family and all this come and claim for the same things. And you know what the social services start to do? They have to go and check. You have to put out the things and they have to go and examine it now and see what you lost. These things happen we in Trinidad and Tobago, and if you know you living in a flood-prone area and so much rain, you will start to put your things on high and think that is what I mean. And it's sometimes when you hear how the people behave, you will think it's Dr. Rowley and the government and Mr. Sinanan that bring the floods. It's happening all over the world, and you know that people houses is covered. It's just unfortunate, but what I said, the way how they just get on when it happens. I hear them the other day in Bamboo and how they get on. One say, and the government has to compensate me, you know. They have to compensate me for my thing and them. And you know all you build up that area, that agricultural area, and turn it into a car park space. And that is what we heard. It and two of them cost the government. So I didn't think I say anything out of the way. And I heard other people come and they say the same story, but they use different words. So maybe, as I say, the kind of passion, and it is because of how you all the hosts get on and encourage, and then when they call and call us at the end, Yeah, man. I hear and I listen. All I could do is shake my head and all that.
I'm
No
doing that
call.
right now.
No, well, all right. Yeah, but I say, well, I don't have the control of the mic. So I'm saying all they have left to say what all they want, and I wouldn't be able to call back and defend it. You know, but it was not nice for me as a caller. All you now gone digital, and people from all over the world could call all you. I call in this radio station since it launched, and I was with it since before. Since when 95.5 break away from it, and I was with only from the inception, and with Gladiator, who make talk radio, the kingpin. He was the kingpin of talk radio.
So because you're here long, which we appreciate your support, we cannot disagree with you.
Paul, I'm not saying
that's not what she said,
with me.
Well, she's adding the fact that she's been here long, but she said something that we vehemently disagree too.
No, but she did say she didn't mind. She did say earlier on she didn't mind if you all disagreed with her, but she didn't like how you all attacked her. And caused her to be attacked.
What she said was discounted, and I disagree with me. She's being attacked. I said, I know what I said. I said that is not a correct sentiment. I didn't attack Miss.
And you can't say it's not correct.
And the other comments you made that I disagree with. Everybody no one encouraged callers. Callers called on their own volition to discount what you said.
You all
and I have the right to agree with people if I want. And I have the right to agree with people if I want.
Paul, I'm not saying no. I am saying
you. Me backing them up is my right. If I agree with what someone says, I have the right as well as if I disagree with what they said.
But while they're talking, you were putting in your mouth and saying...
Because I agreed with what they said. Just like I put in my mouth right now.
All right. Why are they continuing this again today? Why are they continuing this again today?
Because she has the right to express her disagreement with what happened.
Okay.
All right.
She has the right to disagree with what.
So she did it, and let's move on now.
Why we have to move on? Because you say we have to move on.
No. We have to move on because
exactly. We have to move, but let her have her piece.
All right. Well, I'm
but she did.
To say, and you all have a good day.
Wonderful. Enjoy your week.
I'll just shake my head again.
Good afternoon.
I have to tell you something. I have to tell you something.
We're ending the broadcast. Now news is next.
All right, let's get it. When I got to run into news.
All right.